Very good. Thank you all for attending. This is our educational series, one of our webinars. Please be aware you can always go to our library that's canned and recorded and on demand if you want to look at any of the previous ones we've done. And this one will join that group of recorded uh, webinars that you can always go back to if you need to. This one is, as the title says, how to position IUL without overpromising and over-explaining. Uh, Pretty much all in the title right there. I don't know if a lot of you are really familiar with IULs and how to structure them and how to present them, but whether you're very familiar with them or have never done them at all, this should be helpful to you. So um, in, as an introduction, I am Dave Jones. I'm a brokerage manager with Penny Insurance Center. I've been with Penny for about 5 years now, almost maybe a couple months more than 5 years now. I've been in the industry for 30 years. And my job here is to support independent life insurance agents throughout the country in their business and driving their business and driving revenue for them and helping them plan design and things like that. So this will speak exactly to that, specifically to IULs. As an agency, Penny has been around 50 years. And this is our wheel of service here. So if you need to outsource your back office, you need to outsource for a sales team. We've got an internal sales team. Estate planning, business owner, exit planning. We've got an RIA, Mr. Charles King, on board with us who handles advanced markets. So business owners that are looking for key man policies, exit strategies for their business, legacy, tax mitigation, all kinds of things like that. So basically, if it has anything to do with life insurance, or if you want to call it health insurance, the long-term care side of things, the DI side of things, we can help you. And not only can we want to, and to support your business, and we are more than happy to do so. Always feel free to reach out. That's what we're here for. So on to the IUL presentation. First, I want to show you what is happening when you present an IUL, or what can happen. So we're going to take a quick look at a sample IUL illustration. Something I ran, and let me pull this over if I can. Hang on. And are you guys able to see this screen at all, the IUL? Let me see if I can share it this way.
No, we just see the PowerPoint.
Do you see the IUL Corebridge financial at a
Yep.
glance thing here? All right, cool. All right, so really the point of me showing you this is a couple things. Is one page out of 44 over here. So hence the challenge. When you go to run an illustration, which you need to do, and I am not implying whatsoever that you don't show them the whole illustration. You will, you must, you can, and you do, and you get it signed for sure. But there's a way to present it that isn't so much as all this. Look at all this. It goes on and on and on. It is amazing. If you look at this, look at, and so you could see where, especially if a client of yours is not uh, really familiar with such a thing and is not really comfortable with financial numbers and whatnot, their eyes are going to glaze over right in front of you. You'll be able to see it. So, um, all right, so back to the presentation. Um, Hang on. And you can see, oh, hang on. Right now, trying to get back to where the presentation is. Uno momento. All right. So you can see that. All right. So the presentation challenges an illustration presents. So you do an illustration like this, and it is a sea of numbers. Uh, it's going to look very complicated to your client. Uh, they're going to want to know if it offers them any guarantees, or are you just throwing me some pie in the sky promises about performance and what I'm going to get out of this? And clearly, it could be immediately overwhelming to them. So the sheer volume of it, uh, and as I say here, IUL illustrations are often going to be over 30 pages of data. This one came out to be 44, um, and that's not unusual at all. It can be intimidating to your client and even to a lot of agents. So one thing you want to do is understand what the purpose of the IUL is. If they think it's overwhelming and it's pie in the sky, or it's really pricey life insurance and maybe they could do term and invest the rest instead, here's the idea, the concept behind the product. It is more of a savings vehicle with contributions tied to index performance, driving cash value accumulation. So the idea is to build cash value that one can draw on later on, hopefully retirement. It's a great retirement vehicle to supplement your retirement income. And so if you take distributions at retirement, you can do so, if you do it right, on a tax-free basis. That's also very attractive to anybody that you're talking to. I'd say anybody who pays taxes, but that's everybody. And it also provides a safety net of a tax-free death benefit to your beneficiaries if your plan doesn't go as planned. So if you don't make it to retirement, you get hit by a bus or something happens, there's that tax-free death benefit there to go to your beneficiaries, and so they still have that life insurance, even though the main purpose of it is really your retirement. So solutions, how do you present a 40-page document and make it effective for you? Well, you know, the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So yes, again, you're going to present the entire illustration, but you want to focus on information that is relevant to your client. That starts at your initial discussions with them, your discovery conversation, what's important to them, why it's important, and those bits of information that you need to present the information that makes sense to them and speaks to them. Oftentimes it's going to be retirement planning and tax mitigation. So this speaks right to that very well. And you break it down into digestible bites. Keep your clients engaged in the conversation. Ask questions. Does that make sense to you? Is there anything else that I need to go over again regarding this particular bit of information so that we can flesh it out and make it make sense for your situation? Provide clarity, because clearly a big document doesn't do that. So you want to provide the clarity. So breaking it down, essentially in the document, there are three core columns. Even though it looks like there might be 13 or 14 different columns across the page, there are three essential columns. The guaranteed column, a very conservative illustration of what may happen, a hypothetical, if you will, and then a reasonable expectation as to what may happen. So two hypotheticals, not guaranteed, and the one on the left is going to be the guaranteed. And so here it is. Rather than look at all the different numbers across the board in different columns, I broke it down. It's these three main ones. First one's this dark purple one. That's the guaranteed scenario, what could happen. And by the way, worst case scenario. This is as if every aspect of the plan goes way south every year. So the index just tanks every year, and they charge you the most possible for the cost of insurance every year. And the agent and the client does nothing about it every year. So anyway, it's not a likely scenario. It's just worst case, and uh, you're required to show them worst case scenario, and they probably want to know what that is anyway. That middle one is the conservative projection as to what may happen, hypothetical. And then this one on the right, the one with the black background here, is a reasonable expectation. This is based on current assumptions, and it's based on past performance of the index that it's tied to. Is that a guarantee? We know past performance is no guarantee of future performance, but you can always say that. You can always give them that little caveat, the little disclaimer, and show them how this works. In fact, there's even history of the performance of the index that you chose within the illustration itself, way down there on page like 40 something, whatever. You can pull it up and show them if they're interested in seeing it. So first, you look at that guaranteed column. Look at the guarantees. That, again, is the worst case scenario. You'll have life insurance coverage for a certain amount of time. Often that's 30 years or more. Sometimes it can be up to a particular age. There's a lot of levers to pull and push within an illustration. So you can manipulate it to do things that you need it or want it to do, including if somebody says, hey, I really want coverage until I'm 65 years old. Will this guarantee that even if I am faced with the worst case scenario and I put it in a drawer and forget about it? And you may act on economic downturns by adjusting index strategy. I want to keep that in mind because that reminds you as an agent, you should be doing your due diligence, check with them periodically, annual reviews and so forth, and run annual in-force illustrations for them and go over it and see what's happening. If you need to make an adjustment, there's certain times during the year where you can move money and change the allocation to a different index or different percentages therein. Everybody's had a 401k before, and it's similar to a self-directed 401k. You get to put the money in different buckets if you want to do that. And you want to highlight the starting point and the end point, the destination of that guarantee. Again, breaking it down to simple things. Here's the first year, here's what you're putting into it. Go down the list to the page that shows where the coverage would end and run out and the policy would lapse if one ignored it for that long. Next, deliver reasonable expectations. That's that column on the right that I pointed out, the one with the black background based on current assumptions. So it goes through what the plan would look like if things kept doing that. Again, there's one guarantee you can actually assure them of is it won't do the same thing every single year, but and you can't predict what's going to happen in the future. But that projection on that right column is all about what the index had performed at previously, so past performance, and then current assumptions as far as cost of insurance and whatnot, and it maps it out if that were to happen every year. You're going to still need to do your annual reviews, your annual in-force illustrations again, and review things. But that's always a good opportunity to go over things, keep on top of everything, and build that relationship with your client. Ends up getting your referrals anyway, so it's always a good practice. So while these results are not guaranteed, this third column to the right is based on historical performance of the selected index, typically a 20-year history, which is also shown in the illustration, like I said, way down in there. You can pull it out and show them if you like. And it goes year by year and shows you the graph as to what it did, even way back into 2008, 2009, when the entire housing market crashed, and it shows that in there. And people still came out okay in these. It's not a pie in the sky promise. There was a time when some agents were saying, oh, what's the cap rate on this? What's the best possible result? 12%. Let's run this illustration at 12% every single year and show them what it looks like then. That is not realistic. But departments of insurance and whatnot looked at it and said, hey, guys, probably the IRS looked at it too, but they looked at it and said, we need to have some regulation in this. You need to provide reasonable and accurate information to your clients and not give them that pie in the sky kind of thing. So introduce Actuarial Guideline 49, AG 49, and there was an update that was implemented not too long ago, just in addition to it, AG 49A. And these were established rules to prevent overly aggressive or misleading illustrated returns. So that alone restricts you as an agent. As you're going to self-restrict. You're going to do this the right way anyway. What you want to do is provide your client realistic expectations, and then keep on top of it. And you're going to want to do that anyway. But the software has this built into it. Again, you show the starting line and the destination for the reasonable expectations. So let's sample the IUL goods. I ran this IUL illustration for this particular webinar. And so it is the Corebridge Max Accumulator Plus 3. So it's built for cash value accumulation. It did 100,000 in death benefit, but an increasing death benefit. And then it's for a 35-year-old male that's healthy. So that gives him 30 years in the plan uh, before he retires, assuming he's able to retire at 65. And then at that point, he would take 20 years of tax-free income, start that stream starting at age 66. And the way I ran it was he's putting $500 a month into this policy for that time. So on the guaranteed side, I said, yeah, you can show them that first. Worst case scenario. Beginning point, I hope you guys can see this. I wanted it actually bigger so you can see better. But first year, the guy's at the end of the year, he's 36 years old. He's put 6,000 in. That's the 500 per month that I ran it at. And it's already, the death benefit is increasing death benefit, like I said. So it's already bumped up to 127,000 some change in death benefit. So that's already moving north, and it continues doing so throughout the years. This is a year by year breakdown of what uh, it's projecting if these things were to happen this way. And that's page 9 out of 30 some odd I'm on right there. So nice to extract that and show them, hey, focus on this one page rather than going through 33 to 44 pages of stuff. That's the starting line. Guaranteed finish line. So a couple pages later, page 11, throughout the years. Now the guy's been in this 30 years and he's 65. This is that retirement target date we were looking for. Do the math. You go 6,000 a year for the 30 years, and that's 180,000 cumulative total of premium that he's put in there. And he's got over 200,000 now in death benefit at age 65. And he will stop paying his monthly premium. Here's the monthly premium. These are zeros all after that because he stopped paying it. Now, if he took a distribution at that point, that is, he's taking a loan, he would get over 48,000, 48, 7, something like that. And he do that for a couple years, and it would still be in force until year 32, age 67, and then it's going to lapse after that because it can't sustain itself because the guy's taking the money out of it. That's worst case scenario if he takes the maximum amount on a loan out of it as soon as he stops paying on it, and he's still got coverage until he's 67 years old. So even if it's god awful terrible, he's got coverage for 32 years and some money to take out of it at the end. But here's where it gets fun and where the magic happens and what you're really supposed to be doing this type of a life insurance plan for. Like I say, it's like a savings vehicle for retirement income. That's the idea. The life insurance piece of it is more of a safety net. So you're still in that first year. You're at the end of the first year. The guy's 36 years old. He's put the 6,000 in, and now he's already it's increased to about 129,000 in life insurance coverage for him. And this is again that same page on page 9. And you want to show the finish line. This gets to be crazy. Let me go down here. I want to make sure that I can tell you exactly what the numbers are because it is kind of small here. But so now he's on year 30 again. That brings him to age 65. He's put the 180,000 cumulative total at $6,000 a year, and he's got over $400,000 in accumulation value in it, and he's got uh, let me see here. At that point, over 600,000 in life insurance because it's been increasing over the years. And apologies for the print is too small, at least for my eyes. Um, and that's page 11 again of the entire illustration. At this point, he would start taking his distributions as a loan. And that's why it is not ordinary income. It is not earned income. It's not a taxable event at this point. He's taking a loan out on the cash value accumulation of his policy to the tune of, in this case, 48,777 per year. And I've mapped this out for the next 20 years. So between the ages of, say, 65 and 85, he's supplementing his retirement income to the tune of almost $50,000 a year. Again, assumptions and no guarantees on this, but even if it did a fraction of that, a good portion of that, it still is a great way to build that retirement income for somebody who these days they don't give you a pension anymore. So this works out very well. And you go to the end game. Um, Again, I'm showing these distributions, and not only is he taking that money out every year, he continues to have life insurance. The face amount now, since he's no longer contributing any monthly premium to it, the face amount will decrease, but it will continue. This is a participating loan. The money that's still in there continues to act and be tied to the performance of that index. So it gains a little, he takes 48 grand out. It gains a little, so it continues longer than one might think. And if I go down to the next slide, I go to the end of it. This is where I say he's into it now for 50 years. He's 85 years old. He hasn't paid any premiums on it since he was 65 years old. It's still $180,000 cumulative total over the first 30 years of the policy that he paid into it. And that number here's the 48,770 he's been taking every single year. Here's the death benefit that it's still there every single year. If he were to die, unfortunately, in that year, his beneficiaries get that. And then at the end, this number here is the cumulative total of those $48,000 annual distributions that he was taking, the loans he was taking over 20 years. That's, I'm sure you can't see it. It's $975,540. So if his plan does work out and the returns are good over the years, he stands to do way better than the $180,000 that he put into this this plan. And I call it a plan because, yeah, it's life insurance, and the life insurance piece of it is there, but that's only one facet of it. This is the true facet. This is the goal. This is what you're after. And I can tell you, in most cases, if you're able to take a pile of 30, 40, 45 pages of numbers and say, look at these numbers. Here's where the magic happens, so to speak, in this financial plan. This is what we're after. This is what we're chasing. It looks good. It looks really good, and it again will speak to them and their wants and needs. Everybody wants to be able to retire at a reasonable age. 65 is still reasonable, I think, and they don't want to outlive their money. Um, so that's it. That's how I present. Now, for specifics, definitely, if you have a case, I would say bring the case, gather the information about your specific client, and we can build a plan. We can run an illustration that speaks to them. This obviously was just a sample, and I used like an ideal client, a 35-year-old that's going to be into it for 30 years and he's healthy. But regardless of who your client is, if they're bringing up or you're asking them about such concerns as retirement income and tax mitigation and savings and whatnot, we can build a plan and an illustration that will speak to them properly.
Thanks, Dave. We have a few questions that came in. First question is, how do you position IUL differently for younger clients versus pre-retirement clients?
No, that's a great question. And the fact is, sometimes younger clients are a tougher sale because they haven't experienced this situation where they're coming up on retirement, they're thinking about retirement, and maybe they don't realize it. So the first thing is to just bring the topic up. Uh, let's say in this particular example, I'm talking to a 35-year-old professional. That's the perfect time to bring it up because what it does is it allows them time to build that cash value accumulation. It's a perfect time to do it because that 30 years or so, whatever it turns out to be, is a lot of time for them to generate cash value and let it grow for that later date, for the rainy day. And it won't cost them very much. Relatively speaking, it's the most cost-effective way to go about it, and it gives them a lot of flexibility because the cost of insurance is so low for them to put extra money into it, up to and without triggering a MEC.
And the next question that came in, with an existing client, what signals tell you that there may be an opportunity for an IUL?
It depends on their age and their financial situation. So you're going to have that discovery conversation with them. And a lot of times you're prompting that conversation. They may not even know that you're the one who has these solutions. So what you do is you ask the open-ended question, Joe, Jane, um, I help in this kind of way for a lot of my clients. A lot of my clients are interested in such things. I know you don't have a pension. What are you doing about retirement? What are you doing for tax mitigation in retirement? Do you have any kind of a pension? Things like that, and that will bring the topic up. And if you ask open-ended questions like, "What are you doing about that?" and then just zip it and listen, and they will start spilling their guts, especially if they're an existing client and they trust you. They will talk to you about what they've done, even if that answer is a quick, "I haven't done anything, help," which might be the case.
And the next question, how can agents create recurring referrals from IUL clients?
I think providing them again the information that really is relevant to their situation, listening, talking to them, asking them relevant questions, and with the information they provide you, you provide them with solutions to their concerns. Now, if you can do that, most of them would say, "That's amazing. You opened my eyes to something I wasn't even aware of, and I want you to talk to my cousin," or whomever it is, a friend or family member. Some of them might even be tough customers. Okay, it's good to be cynical, especially in financial situations. That's great. But once they do this and they start seeing, "Oh, wow, um, I got a life insurance benefit that started out at 100,000. I'm 3 years into it, let's say, and it's well above 100,000 now. And I've already got cash value built into it. If I needed something, I've got a nest egg there that uh, I could get into if I needed to." You don't want to, but at least they will see after a few years, if they want to wait, that what you said is working. And as long as you're reasonable about the presentation and you're not giving them the pie in the sky uh, garbage, then they will see that you have come through with what you presented, and they will trust you, even the toughest customer.
And we have one more question that came in. Why wouldn't I offer a VUL instead?
You might not be licensed to do that. You got to have a securities license, and there's more volatility and there's more risk involved. So vast majority of the agents out in the field don't have their securities license, so they can't bring up the VUL. It's pretty common. But the other thing is there's built-in safeguards to the IUL. And I mentioned a cap before. So if there's a cap, pretty common, let's say it's about 12%. There's also a floor. So this money that's tied to the performance of an index is not invested in that index. That's why it's not capital gains. So it's the brilliance of it. it mitigates risk. So, okay, if the S&P 500 goes up 20% in one year, maybe that person has a cap of 11.5 or 12. All right, so they get the 11.5 or 12. That's all good. If it goes down 20% or 40% in 2009, if it goes down 40%, they only ride that elevator down to the bottom floor. It's a zero floor. So they don't take it to the sub-basement floors of negative numbers. And so recovery is better after that. For those who did live through that housing uh, crisis, um, they took 30 and 40% losses on things. And one might say, okay, yeah, but it bounced back pretty quick after that. Sure. A couple years later, it was up 20, 25%. They're still negative, man, because they were down 20. If that person is here, they went down to zero, and okay, it's a bad year, maybe a bad couple years. It happens. It has happened. So they're stagnant and they didn't make any, but they didn't lose any. So as soon as that recovery comes and it's up 20% the next year, they're realizing that recovery in real time and not just still trying to tread water.
Thanks so much, Dave. Any closing thoughts?
I think it's a great product. I think it's a great thing to make your clients aware of because, again, a lot of them aren't aware of it. And the other thing is, if you present it properly and you're very realistic and conservative about the way you position this to your clients, it will gain a lot of confidence in you as an agent. It will get you referrals. And the fact is, it will counteract some of the bad publicity that's been out there. All that stuff happened really from a long time ago before people figured out how to really work these. And some agents were giving them the pie in the sky stuff. And so it didn't work out so well that way. But if you do it right, it can work out very well for you and more importantly, your clients.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today as part of our educational webinar series. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.